Hi guys, welcome back to the kitchen. Today we are going to can some peaches. So every year we get usually about a bushel or 2 bushels of peaches, and then we can them because they are one of our favorite treats to be able to put up for the winter. And so I picked out some pretty icky looking ones out of the boxes this year, and I quartered those up and put them in the fridge for now. But whatever's left, if they're nice enough, we are going to put them in jars, and we are going to make a light syrup for them, and we are going to can them. I do not make my syrup the way that the book tells us to make syrup. So if you're a beginner, I would highly suggest you start by canning them the way the book calls for, just until you kind of learn the basics and follow safe practices. So again, I am not going to be canning them exactly the way the book calls for. And so if you're not comfortable with that, that's okay. This is just how I've been doing them for about the last 5 years to save myself a dirty dish or two. So here we go. Okay, and we are still going to reference our blue book for things like how long I need to can them for, because I can never remember that. So it says that we will need 2 to 3 pounds of peaches per quart. I will can them in both quarts and pints, because sometimes we don't go through a whole quart before they kind of start to go bad, and so it's nice to just have a pint on hand when we need it. And we are gonna raw pack these, and it says we need to leave 1/2 inch headspace, remove air bubbles, and process pints for 25 minutes, quarts for 30. So, and depending upon what the baby demands, we will be taking breaks as necessary. Baby homesteader is trying so hard to fall asleep. All right. So then after we have blanched these, I dump them in my sink, has cold water and some ice. And then we are just gonna, the skins just kind of start to slip off. This is the time-consuming part, but it's not so bad. Don't mind my grown-out manicure. I didn't think they'd stick on that long, but here we are, 3 weeks later. So we just peel these off, and what I do with the skins is, yeah, another bad spot, I'll just cut that out, is I will give these to the chickens. So this one's coming off much better. You can see how it's just kind of sliding right off. That's what we're looking for. We want it to just slide right off. All right, so now that I think I have enough to kind of start a batch in the canner, I am going to take either my quarts or my pints. I've not decided yet. And I am going to make my simple syrup, not my simple syrup, what's it called? My syrup. And I'm going to do it right in my jar. So for a quart, for a heavy syrup, I will oftentimes do a 1/2 cup. For a light syrup, I will do a 1/4 cup of sugar. And then I just half that amount for a pint. And so we're going to fill this. I'm not going to fill it, but I'm going to put some hot water in here, measure out our sugar, dissolve it, and then we're going to fill it up with our peaches. So let's get started there. All right, so if a 1/4 cup is 4 tablespoons, that means if I want half the amount for a pint, I want 2 tablespoons worth of sugar. So we're gonna get our sugar out. This does not look all the way white because this is raw cane sugar, and so it has not been bleached. And it has a little bit of a tannish hue to it. So I'm just gonna do 2 tablespoons. And then, get that out of the way for sake here. I just kind of swirl it until it's mostly dissolved. Easy as that. That's my syrup. So let's get going here. And I just kind of, it's just hot water out of my tap off of my sink. And I just kind of swirl it until it's mostly gone and dissolved. And then we're gonna start loading this with our peaches. This gets messy and sticky kind of quick, so. Last year I had a girlfriend come over. She was not so sure that this whole canning thing was gonna be her thing. And so she came over, brought the kids. Kids wore each other out while we worked on this. And you can either have these or quarter these. I like to quarter them and then just kind of layer them in there. And she was like, I don't know. I see it all over social media, I watch it on YouTube, whatever. And I'm not sure if it's my thing. And she goes, I've got all these people in my life who have this knowledge and I feel like I should be learning it. But I don't know if I want to heat up my kitchen. I don't know if I want to spend the time, invest the time doing it. All of that fun stuff that comes with canning. Because if you've canned, it's a time-consuming process, right? And so she came over and we're peeling peaches and we're starting to cut peaches and fill our jars. And she goes, I'm really glad that I came because I don't think this is for me. And guys, I think it took a little something to say, just because I see it all over Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is that you follow, doesn't necessarily mean that it's your thing. And just because you're seeing it all over doesn't mean that you need to do it. You know what I mean? If your heart isn't in it, then we're going to take one of these out. If your heart's not in it, then you don't have to do it, Anyway, that was just my food for thought for the day as we filled our first jar. And so now our book said to leave a 1/4 inch headspace. So I'm going to take this to my sink and top it off with water, wipe my rim, plop a lid on there, and get it set in the canner while we fill the next jars. And we wipe our rims to make sure that the rim feels okay. There's no nicks, there's no cracks. And then to make sure that there is nothing in the way of this rubber gasket on the seal, the rubber gasket on the lid. So that way we can get a good strong seal. Oops. Fingertip tight. Now let's see if I can burn myself over here. All right. And then we're just gonna continue on. Always make a mess. I'm a messy person in the kitchen, but you know what? 9 times out of 10, I'm the one who gets to clean it up, so it's okay. You might think it's silly to sit here and stir this, but it saves me making a mess on my stove, making a syrup, and it saves me a couple dishes. So these days, especially with the new baby, I am all about the convenience. Now when I cut peaches, and they are slippery once they're peeled, I cut them around that pit, and then I like to twist until they kind of come loose from that pit. There we go. And they pop right open. Oh, somebody is waking up. We are going to have to take a break. Let's get this one loaded and we're going to take a break. Some people layer them in there so pretty, but I am not that person. All right, we'll be right back. Yes, we are trying to use the shade to finish a nap. Sometimes life's a little inconvenient, but it's well worth it. You're so busy. Hmm? You're so busy. I am going to finish getting this canner loaded. From here on out, it's basically just repetition. And there is no need to bore you guys with that. So, once we get the sucker rolling, it's just the same from here on out. We'll touch back with you in a little bit. Alright, so once this comes back to a rolling boil, we are going to drop these in here. Make sure that the water covers the lids by at least an inch. And we are going to process these for, I believe our book said 20 minutes. I will double check, but we're going to process these for 20 minutes. Okay, so our timer went off. These processed for 25 minutes. And then I turned off the heat and kind of set the lid off a little sideways for about 5 minutes. It's not such a drastic shock to them when they come out. I need a towel. And let's get these guys unloaded. Right, here. Alright, 7 pints so far. I unfortunately have to take a short break. I'm gonna get outside and do chores. But if these get a little discolored from the air, I'm not too worried about it. I know they're still good. They just might be a little dark, and that's okay because we gotta get outside and do some chores. So we will catch you guys when we maybe have some more of these loaded and we're on the upside of all the things. Alright, so it was pretty late after we got back in, and so I finished these. It was well after dark. I didn't record much of that, well, any of that. And so these are all, I took the bands off so I could run them through my dishwasher. Everything here is sealed. I had one not sealed. We had that for breakfast. So we got all these guys over here, and I have 1, 2, 3, I have 5 quarts over on the other side of the counter where I had more room. So next we're gonna wash these because they got pretty sticky, and put our dates and what they are on the top, and they are gonna go downstairs. As you can, this one I had a gosh darn pit fall in there, and I just kind of left it because I was like, at that point it was so late, I was like, I'm not digging that back out. But you can see we lost a little bit of liquid, so a little bit of siphoning, but they are still safe, and they are beautiful. Let's see if you can see the color any better over here. They are beautiful, and they are some of our favorite treats. I just wanted to say thanks for joining us as we canned all of our peaches this year. Well, maybe about half of our peaches. I think we're gonna do at least another bushel, depending upon how the rest of summer goes. But anyway, we've got some other exciting stuff to share with you guys in the upcoming weeks. So hopefully you guys will catch that. I am being summoned in the other room. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.